Earth has upheld its obligations to the Council, Ronald declared, his piercing gaze sweeping the room. Yet our requests for fair resource allocation and security guarantees have been met with derision. We seek not dominion, but respect. A ripple of discontent murmured through the assembly, the alien tongues clashing in disdainful harmony. At the far end of the chamber, Lord Raltron of the Trelzari, a towering figure with metallic scales and crimson eyes, leaned forward, his lips curling into a predatory grin. Respect? Humanity is a child among the stars, yet it presumes to lecture its elders, Raltron sneered. Perhaps we've been too lenient, allowing Earth to believe it is our equal. Ronald's jaw tightened, but he remained composed. Leniency, Lord Raltron, is not the word I'd use for centuries of exploitation. The tension thickened, the air practically vibrating with the hostility of dozens of species united only in their disdain for humanity. But Ronald did not falter. He knew this was his moment to stand firm, not just for Earth, but for the billions who looked to him as their voice in the stars. Enough, bellowed Supreme Arbiter Krelith, a gelatinous entity whose translucent form shimmered with anger. Diplomat Ronald, you overstep. Humanity's audacity will not be tolerated further. Raltron seized the moment, rising to his full, imposing height. I move that Daniel Ronald be detained for his insolence. Let him answer for his accusations in a tribunal. A cacophony of assent followed, though a few voices of dissent, rare allies of humanity, were drowned out. Before Ronald could respond, armed guards approached, their multi-limbed forms moving with mechanical precision. I am Earth's representative, Ronald said, his voice rising over the clamor. You have no authority to detain me without evidence. Raltron's grin widened. Evidence will be found. Take him. As the guards seized him, Ronald's stoic expression faltered only briefly. He locked eyes with Raltron and said, This is a mistake you won't live to regret. In the darkened cell, Ronald's thoughts raced. He had prepared for opposition, but not outright betrayal. The walls hummed with a faint, oppressive energy, a reminder of the Council's dominance. Hours passed, then days, marked only by the sporadic arrival of stale food and the mocking words of his guards. On the third day, the door slid open. Lord Raltron stepped inside, flanked by two enforcers. This is beneath even you, Ronald said, rising from the cold bench. Raltron chuckled, a sound like grinding metal. Beneath me? No, Ronald. This is justice. Humanity needs to learn its place, and your defiance will serve as a lesson. Before Ronald could reply, Raltron gestured to his guards. They dragged him into a dimly lit chamber where a hollow recorder blinked to life. Do it, Raltron ordered, his voice devoid of emotion. One guard raised a plasma blade, its energy humming ominously. Ronald met Raltron's gaze one last time. You think killing me will silence Earth? You've only given us a cause. The blade descended, and the recording ended. Back on Earth, the video spread like wildfire, igniting outrage and grief. It was broadcast on every channel, the Alien Council's mockery evident in the taunting captions and triumphant tone. President Jonathan Jones watched in silence, his fists clenched on the desk. Around him, his top advisors, General Thomas Andrews, a battle-hardened tactician, and Admiral Leon Cortez, the charismatic leader of Earth's fleet, stood grim-faced. They didn't just kill Daniel, Jones said, his voice low and dangerous. They spat on everything we stand for. Andrews nodded, his voice sharp. This wasn't an execution. It was a declaration of war. Admiral Cortez leaned forward. The Council thinks Earth is weak. They'll expect us to cower. I say we show them how wrong they are. The room fell silent as Jones rose, his expression steeled. We've tried diplomacy. We've tried reason. They've answered with blood. Prepare the Ares Protocol. We will show the galaxy what happens when you strike at humanity. Across Earth, the response was immediate and unified. Factories roared to life, churning out weapons of war. Soldiers were mobilized and fleets prepared for battle. But more than that, a sense of purpose spread like wildfire among the people. This wasn't just about Daniel Ronald. It was about proving that humanity would not be subjugated. In a hidden facility, the Ghost Regiment, Earth's elite covert operatives, prepared for their mission. Commander Victor Cole, their leader, addressed his team. "They think they've broken us," Cole said, his voice cold and unwavering. "They think this ends with Daniel. They're wrong. This is where it begins." The operatives responded with silent nods, their resolve clear. For them, the mission was personal. The section ends with President Jones delivering a speech to the world, broadcast across every screen and comm channel. They thought Daniel Ronald was just one man. They thought his death would make us kneel. But Daniel was more than a diplomat. He was the embodiment of our courage, our resilience, and our unwillingness to bow. They've made their choice. Now, we'll make ours. We will not stop until every last one of them pays for what they've done. For Daniel, for Earth. The screen fades to black, leaving the audience with a sense of impending vengeance and unyielding determination. The Galactic Council convened in chaos, the usual pomp and formality replaced with frantic debates and simmering outrage. The video of Daniel Ronald's execution had achieved its intended effect, but not in the way the Council had anticipated. Rather than cow humanity into submission, it had unleashed a storm. Supreme Arbiter Krelith loomed in the center of the chamber, his gelatinous form pulsing in agitation. "Humanity's response to our justified actions is unacceptable," he intoned, his voice reverberating like a deep drumbeat. Lord Raltron stood smugly at his designated seat. "Let them bluster," he said with a dismissive wave of his clawed hand. "Their rage is a spark, nothing more. They lack the means to sustain it." Before the Council could erupt into further squabbling, the chamber lights dimmed abruptly. A holographic feed flickered to life, dominating the room with the majestic face of President Jonathan Jones. The human leader's expression was unreadable, his tone measured yet cold. "This is President Jones of Earth," he began, his voice slicing through the tension. "You may believe that executing Daniel Ronald would silence us. Instead, you have awakened a force you cannot comprehend." The room fell silent as Jones continued. "Humanity does not forget. We do not forgive, and we do not submit. From this moment forward, consider yourselves at war." Gasps of shock rippled through the chamber, but Jones pressed on. "We will strike at your fleets, your strongholds, your worlds. Until Daniel Ronald's death is avenged, there will be no negotiation, no peace. Only justice." The hologram vanished as abruptly as it had appeared, leaving the Council stunned. Even Raltron, usually smug, appeared momentarily taken aback. Back on Earth, the gears of war turned with unrelenting precision. Massive assembly lines roared to life, producing advanced weaponry, spacecraft, and automated drones. Every corner of the planet buzzed with activity, from bustling recruitment centers to covert research labs developing next-generation technologies. At the Global Defense Command, Admiral Leon Cortez reviewed the latest fleet deployments with a critical eye. The veteran officer was known for his unflappable demeanor and razor-sharp strategies. Standing beside him was General Thomas Andrews, his counterpart in Earth's ground forces, whose reputation as a tactician was matched only by his fiery speeches that inspired legions of soldiers. "The fleet is ready," Cortez said, his voice steady. "Every ship armed and every crew drilled. If the Council wants a fight, we'll bring it to them." Andrews nodded, his broad shoulders tense. "The ground forces are mobilized, but we'll need precision strikes to cripple their supply lines. It's not enough to fight. We have to dismantle their entire infrastructure." Cortez smirked. "You focus on tearing them apart on the ground, General. I'll make sure their skies are ours." Nearby, Commander Victor Cole of the Ghost Regiment observed the exchange silently. Unlike his more outspoken peers, Cole was a man of action, his leadership forged in countless Black Ops missions. His team had already received their orders, infiltrate and sabotage key council strongholds. Cole, Andrews called, turning to him. Your men ready? Cole's response was curt. Always. The general's lips curled into a grim smile. Good. We're going to need every ounce of that resolve. Earth's first move was swift and decisive. The USS Majestic, flagship of Earth's fleet, led an assault on a council-controlled mining outpost deep within neutral space. The facility supplied critical resources to the alien war machine, and its destruction would send a clear message. Captain Elias Mercer stood on the bridge of the Majestic, his steely gaze fixed on the holographic display. The outpost loomed ahead, heavily fortified but vulnerable to Earth's technological advancements. Status report, Mercer commanded. Enemy defenses are active, but they haven't detected us yet, replied Lieutenant Daniel Hart, the ship's tactical officer. Good. Let's keep it that way. Launch the drone swarm, Mercer ordered. Dozens of sleek, autonomous drones surged forward, weaving through enemy defenses with surgical precision. Within moments, explosions rippled across the outpost as key structures were obliterated. The enemy responded with a barrage of plasma fire, but Mercer was ready. Deploy countermeasures. Prepare to engage their fleet. The battle was brutal but brief. Earth's forces demonstrated their tactical superiority, overwhelming the defenders and reducing the outpost to rubble. Mission accomplished, Mercer reported to Admiral Cortez. The Council knows we're serious now. Meanwhile, on the ground, General Andrews addressed a battalion of troops preparing for deployment. The soldiers, clad in state-of-the-art combat armor, stood in disciplined silence as their commander spoke. Listen up, Andrews began, his voice carrying over the rumble of distant machinery. The Galactic Council thought they could intimidate us by killing Daniel Ronald. They thought we'd back down, but they underestimated us. They always do. The general paced before the ranks, his presence commanding. This isn't just about vengeance. This is about showing the galaxy that humanity won't be pushed around, that we fight for our own, and we win. A thunderous cheer erupted from the soldiers, their resolve unshakable. As the war effort intensified, humanity's ingenuity shone. Scientists unveiled the Starbreaker, a devastating weapon capable of targeting enemy strongholds with unprecedented precision. Engineers upgraded Earth's fleets with adaptive shielding and hypervelocity railguns. Every advancement tipped the scales further in humanity's favor. But the Council was not idle. Reports flooded in of alien fleets mobilizing, their sheer numbers dwarfing Earth's forces. The galaxy braced for an all-out war, with both sides unwilling to back down. At the heart of the storm stood President Jones, addressing the world once more. His face was solemn but majestic, his words a rallying cry. This is not a war we sought, but it is a war we will win. For Daniel Ronald, for humanity, for the future. Together, we will show the galaxy what it means to stand as one. The broadcast ended, leaving billions inspired and united. The battle lines were drawn, and there was no turning back. In the shadows of the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber, Lord Raltron met with his secret allies. His voice was low but venomous. Earth will regret this defiance. Their fury is a wildfire, and I will be the one to extinguish it. Unbeknownst to him, Earth's agents were already listening, and his words would soon serve as a spark for the next phase of humanity's vengeance. The vast expanse of space erupted into chaos as Earth's fleets clashed with the armadas of the Galactic Council. Battles raged across multiple systems, each engagement pushing humanity's resolve to its limits. The stars, once symbols of exploration and hope, now served as silent witnesses to the carnage. Admiral Leon Cortez stood on the bridge of the USS Majestic, his face illuminated by the red glow of the tactical display. Reports flooded in from every front, some victories, some losses, but the war was far from decided. Enemy fleet approaching from the Vexor Belt, Lieutenant Hart announced, his voice tense. 2 dreadnoughts and several support vessels. Cortez's jaw tightened. Ready the railguns. Launch torpedoes. Keep our fighters in defensive formation. The crew responded with practiced precision, their movements a testament to Earth's rigorous training. The ship shuddered as it unleashed a volley of railgun fire, tearing through the enemy's forward defenses. Explosions lit up the void, but the Council's ships pressed on, their sheer numbers a daunting obstacle. "Admiral, we can't hold this position much longer," Hart warned. Cortez's eyes narrowed. "We're not retreating. Not today. Focus fire on their lead dreadnought. If we take it down, the rest will scatter." The Majestic charged forward, its weapons blazing. The dreadnought loomed ahead, a massive fortress of alien engineering. Cortez's voice cut through the chaos. "Fire the Starbreaker." A high-pitched whine filled the bridge as the experimental weapon powered up. Seconds later, a brilliant beam of energy lanced through space, striking the dreadnought's core. The ship imploded in a blinding flash, its destruction sending shockwaves through the enemy fleet. The crew erupted in cheers, but Cortez remained stoic. "This isn't over. Maintain formation and prepare for counterattack." On the ground, the war's brutality was equally fierce. General Thomas Andrews led his forces in a desperate assault on a council-controlled planet. The terrain was unforgiving. Jagged cliffs and ash-filled air made every step a struggle. "Keep moving," Andrews bellowed, his voice carrying over the din of gunfire. "We have to take that ridge before their reinforcements arrive." The soldiers pressed on, their armored suits battered but functional. Plasma bolts rained down from alien emplacements, forcing them to take cover. Andrews activated his comms. "Cole, we're pinned down. Where's that support?" "On its way," came the calm reply from Commander Victor Cole. Minutes later, explosions rocked the alien fortifications as the Ghost Regiment arrived. Cole and his operatives moved with surgical precision, disabling turrets and neutralizing enemy combatants. Andrews grinned. "About time you showed up." Cole smirked. "Wouldn't want you stealing all the glory." Together, their forces pushed forward, securing the ridge and turning the tide of the battle. But victory came at a cost. The bodies of fallen soldiers, human and alien alike, littered the battlefield, a grim reminder of the war's price. As the conflict escalated, humanity unleashed its full potential. Massive orbital platforms rained destruction on enemy strongholds, while fleets of drones swarmed Council ships. Earth's ingenuity was on full display, but the Council adapted quickly. At a secret war council on Earth, President Jones addressed his top advisors. The holographic display showed the latest casualty figures, and the numbers were staggering. "We've dealt them significant blows," Jones said, his voice steady despite the grim data. "But they're regrouping. If we don't strike at their leadership, this war could drag on for years." Andrews leaned forward, his expression grim. "Then we take the fight to them. We know where Raltron is. Let's make him pay." Cortez nodded in agreement. "Cut off the head, and the body dies. It's risky, but it could end this war." Jones looked to Cole, whose face was unreadable. "Can your team handle it?" Cole's response was immediate. "We'll get it done." The operation to eliminate Lord Raltron was codenamed Nemesis. The Ghost Regiment would infiltrate his fortress on the Council's homeworld, a planet shrouded in defenses and surrounded by fleets. As their dropship approached the surface, Cole addressed his team. "This isn't just another mission. Raltron's death won't just cripple their leadership. It'll send a message. No one kills a human and gets away with it." The operatives nodded, their faces grim but determined. They knew the risks, but they also knew the stakes. The dropship landed silently, its cloaking field masking their approach. The team moved swiftly, disabling security systems and eliminating guards. Inside the fortress, they encountered fierce resistance. Alien soldiers, armed with advanced weaponry, fought desperately to protect their leader. "Push forward," Cole shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. The battle was brutal, every corridor a kill zone. But the Ghost Regiment pressed on, their training and determination overpowering the alien defenders. Finally, they reached Raltron's chamber. The alien lord stood at the center, his crimson eyes blazing with fury. "You dare bring war to my domain?" Raltron snarled, his voice echoing through the room. Cole stepped forward, his weapon aimed at Raltron's chest. "This is for Daniel Ronald." Before Raltron could respond, Cole pulled the trigger. The plasma bolt struck true, and the alien leader collapsed, his reign of terror at an end. As the Ghost Regiment exfiltrated, alarms blared across the Council's homeworld. The death of Raltron was more than a tactical victory. It was a symbolic blow that would shake the Council to its core. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. Crowds gathered in celebration, their cheers echoing across cities. But amidst the jubilation, President Jones stood in his office, gazing out at the horizon. "This war isn't over," he said quietly. "Not until the Council is brought to its knees." The camera pans to the stars, now burning brighter with the fires of war, leaving the audience eager to see the final confrontation. The death of Lord Raltron sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council, but it was not the war's conclusion. At its heart stood the enigmatic and ruthless King Zelter, the supreme ruler of the Council. Unlike the more bureaucratic members, Zelter was a warrior king whose reputation was built on centuries of unyielding conquest. Raltron's assassination had not shaken him. It had enraged him. On Earth, President Jones convened a final war council, the stakes higher than ever. Around the table sat Admiral Cortez, General Andrews, and Commander Victor Cole. Holographic displays illuminated the room, projecting intelligence on Zelter's command ship, the Eternal Dominion. "This is it," Jones began, his tone solemn. "King Zelter is the last piece of this puzzle. If we eliminate him, the Council will fracture. Their fleets will crumble without his leadership." Andrews leaned forward, his hands clasped. "Zelter's ship is a fortress. Even with our latest advancements, it'll take everything we have to breach it." Cortez nodded. "We'll have to combine our forces, air and ground, if we want to stand a chance." Jones turned to Cole. "And you? Can your team finish the job once we get you inside?" Cole's voice was calm but majestic. "Consider it done." The operation was codenamed Endgame. Earth's fleet, spearheaded by the Majestic, launched a full-scale assault on the Eternal Dominion. The colossal ship was surrounded by a vast defensive fleet, its metallic surface bristling with weaponry. Status report. Cortez barked from the Majestic's bridge as explosions erupted in the void. "Enemy ships engaging on all fronts," Hart replied. "Their defenses are formidable, but we're holding the line." Cortez clenched his fists. "We need to punch through. Launch the cruisers. Draw their fire away from the infiltration team." Outside, Earth's ships executed daring maneuvers, drawing enemy fire as Cole and his Ghost Regiment approached the Eternal Dominion in a cloaked dropship. Inside the ship, tension was palpable. Cole addressed his men, his voice steady despite the chaos. "This mission isn't about glory," he said, his gaze sweeping over the team. "It's about finishing what they started. For Daniel Ronald, for Earth, for every life they've taken." The soldiers nodded silently, their expressions grim but determined. The dropship breached the Eternal Dominion's outer hull, and the Ghost Regiment disembarked into the heart of the enemy stronghold. The corridors were a labyrinth of alien architecture, illuminated by pulsating red lights. Alarms blared, and the team moved swiftly, encountering resistance at every turn. "Keep moving," Cole ordered as they neutralized wave after wave of alien defenders. They advanced deeper into the ship, their path marked by destruction. Automated turrets, shielded gates, and heavily armed guards slowed their progress, but the Ghost Regiment was relentless. Cole's leadership and the soldiers' discipline turned the seemingly impossible mission into a calculated offensive. Approaching the throne chamber, one soldier reported, his voice strained. Cole nodded. "Weapons hot. This ends now." Inside the throne chamber, King Zelter awaited. The alien monarch was an imposing figure, his obsidian armor glinting under the chamber's harsh lighting. He stood tall, his crimson eyes burning with cold fury. "You've come far, humans," Zelter said, his deep voice echoing ominously. "But you will not leave this place alive." Cole stepped forward unshaken. "You've ruled through fear and bloodshed for too long, Zelter. Today, that ends." Zelter unsheathed a massive energy blade, its crackling edge humming with lethal power. "You think you can challenge me? I am the Council. I am the galaxy's rightful ruler." The battle that followed was brutal. Zelter's speed and strength were beyond anything the Ghost Regiment had faced. He moved like a force of nature, his strikes shattering walls and tearing through defenses. "Focus fires," Cole commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos. The team's coordinated assault forced Zelter to retreat momentarily, but his resilience was staggering. One by one, the soldiers fell, their sacrifices buying precious seconds for Cole to act. Finally, it was down to Cole and Zelter. The commander faced the alien king, his weapon raised but depleted of ammunition. Zelter sneered, raising his blade for the final blow. "You are nothing but a speck," Zelter growled. Cole's lips curled into a defiant smile. "And you underestimated that speck." In one swift motion, Cole activated a hidden explosive charge attached to his armor. The blast engulfed Zelter, his obsidian armor cracking as he roared in pain. Seizing the moment, Cole grabbed a discarded plasma rifle and fired directly into Zelter's exposed chest. The alien king staggered, his crimson eyes dimming. "You cannot win," he gasped before collapsing, his reign finally over. As the Ghost Regiment survivors evacuated, the Majestic unleashed its final salvo, obliterating the Eternal Dominion. The explosion lit up the void, signaling humanity's ultimate victory. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. Crowds poured into the streets, celebrating the end of the war. But amidst the celebrations, President Jones addressed the world from his office. This victory was not just for Daniel Ronald or the soldiers who fought bravely, Jones said. It was for humanity's future. "We have shown the galaxy that we are not to be underestimated, that we will stand together, no matter the odds." As Earth celebrated, far across the galaxy, remnants of the Council convened in secret. A shadowy figure stepped forward, its identity obscured. "Zelter has fallen, but this is not the end," the figure declared. "Humanity will pay for what it has done. The war is far from over." The camera pans out, revealing a fleet of unknown ships assembling in the darkness, setting the stage for the next chapter in humanity's struggle.